Is this the best productivity monitor for laptop users? With an integrated dock, Thunderbolt support with 90 watts of power output, a bunch of quality of life improvements when interacting with the monitor, and pre-calibrated modes for creators, engineers, and those working in the medical field, this just might be the case. Okay, so what gets me really excited about a productivity monitor are the extra features that can speed up my workflow. And an accessory I always recommend is some sort of dock or hub because it makes setting up your laptop at a desk setup so much faster and easier. So I really like that the PD2730S has dock functionality built right into the monitor. On the bottom of the monitor, you'll find 3 USB-A ports, a USB-C port, and a headphone jack. I think that's a pretty good selection of ports. Even though we've been saying for years that everything is moving towards USB-C, there are still a ton of accessories that use USB-A. In fact, things like portable SSDs even ship with both types of cables. So I can see why BenQ has focused more on the USB-A ports. That being said, I think I would have liked to see one more USB-C port for extra flexibility. But for most people, I think this selection will still be compatible with their setups. And one of the USB-A ports as well as the USB-C port support 7.5 watts of power output, so you can use them to charge devices in a pinch. I also like that the ports are placed on the bottom of the monitor. Definitely better than the back and better than the side because there'll be no obstructions if you're using more than one monitor side by side. So connecting to these ports can be done via the Thunderbolt 4 port on the back, which delivers 90 watts of power, enough to power most laptops. Or you can connect via the USB-C port. Unlike the Thunderbolt port though, the USB-C port doesn't support video input, so this one's got to be used with the DisplayPort or HDMI ports. This monitor also has KVM support, which means it can send the signal from these bottom ports between 2 devices depending on which device is active. So that means one set of accessories for 2 devices. And it saves you from having to buy a separate dock for your desk, which can cost a couple $100 on its own. Also, one cool thing I realized is that if you're daisy chaining this monitor with another monitor that has dock functionality, you can get access to all the ports available on the second monitor through your Thunderbolt connection as well, which is pretty handy. So along the line of functional extra features, this monitor ships with a control puck. If you've used any of BenQ's other professional monitors, you've probably used something similar, but they've made some big changes to give the puck way more functionality. The most obvious change is the puck is now wireless. I already loved the wired pucks that were included with BenQ's other monitors, but making it wireless is a huge upgrade. Not only do you not have to deal with cables sprawled across your desk, but now you can place the puck anywhere. Like, you can even place the puck underneath your desk. They've also programmed the puck a bit differently, which gives you more functionality. So rather than having the dial jump straight into the settings menu like on the previous puck, the new one opens up a menu where you can choose to quickly adjust your brightness, volume, device input, and contrast. This is very nice, just a better way to access the settings that matter more quickly. Other than the dial, the puck still has 3 shortcut keys on the side and the looping button. By default, the shortcut keys will allow you to switch between color profiles, and the looping key is set to cycle through input devices, but this is completely customizable in the monitor's settings. If the puck isn't your thing, there are 2 additional ways to control your monitor. The first is the traditional way, through the function key and joystick found on the bottom of the display. Again, it's a nice placement, better than the back of the monitor where a lot of joysticks are placed. And it's way easier to reach, especially if you're using multiple monitors. 2 small details I want to point out: the joystick is tuned really nicely, so the whole monitor doesn't shake whenever you use it. And the power button actually requires 2 presses to turn off the monitor. The amount of times I've accidentally switched off my monitor when I'm trying to switch between input devices is way too many. So this is the perfect way to do it. You accidentally press your power button, the monitor won't switch off. That's a great little detail. The last way to control the monitor is through software. So the PD2730S runs with BenQ's DisplayPilot 2 software, which lets you adjust a whole bunch of the monitor's settings. And for some settings like picture-in-picture mode, it's actually the fastest way to switch it on and off and make adjustments rather than having to dig through the monitor's menus manually. DisplayPilot also lets you control the monitor's volume with your computer's volume keys, which is a really nice convenience. So this monitor does have 2 inbuilt speakers. Although, as with most inbuilt speakers, they're not very impressive. I do appreciate the inclusion, and you can do everything you need to do with them, like watch YouTube videos, maybe listen to a podcast too. But if you're after a really nice listening experience, I definitely recommend investing in a set of external speakers or a nice pair of headphones. Alright, let's talk specs. This is a 27-inch 5K monitor. That means you get 218 pixels per inch, which also means you get a really crisp image. You really won't be able to see the individual pixels even with your face right up to the monitor. The contrast ratio is 2000:1, up from a standard IPS panel's 1000:1. So you're able to get some really nice blacks if you're doing creative work or watching media. Brightness of the display reaches a max of 400 nits, which is not super impressive, but unless you're facing super heavy glare, it should be enough for most office and home usage. BenQ also uses what they call a nano matte panel, which is helpful for fighting off glare. In terms of color, BenQ claims the monitor can display 98% P3, 100% Rec 709, and 100% of the sRGB gamut. And my tests with the Spider X show the same results. Out of the box, the monitor also comes with a bunch of pre-calibrated color profiles for creators, but also for non-creators too. Now, the cool thing about the PD2730S is that BenQ has actually developed their own calibration software that works with a whole bunch of colorimeters, including my Spider X. And it's actually a lot more user-friendly and gives much more extensive results compared to the software that comes with my Spider X. While the Spider X's native software shows the gamut the monitor is able to produce, it doesn't actually show how accurately the colors are being represented. BenQ software actually generates a detailed report showing the color accuracy. So outside of validating the monitor's accuracy, it's kind of inevitable that you'll need to calibrate your monitor over its life if you want to maintain its accuracy. And BenQ software is really designed to make that calibration process pretty easy. There are predefined calibration targets depending on the work that you do, and the software will calibrate the monitor based on that activity. But other than creative work, the PD2730S also includes profiles for other professional applications, such as their CAD profile that emphasizes the contrast between light and dark colors, making it easy for designers and engineers working with CAD files, and DICOM mode, which is the standard used for medical imaging. So yeah, there's a bit of everything for everyone. Okay, to connect to the monitor, you have a couple of options. There is a HDMI, DisplayPort, and Thunderbolt port on the back of the monitor. And I do like the fact that the ports face outwards. It makes them a lot easier to access than hidden downward facing ports that you'll find on other monitors. And you don't have to think about if the cable you're plugging in is upside down because you can see the port right there. KVM features can be accessed via the Thunderbolt port and the USB-C port as well. And there is another Thunderbolt port for additional accessories or if you want to daisy chain some extra monitors. On the left, there's an AC power input jack, and the power brick is built right into the monitor, which is so much easier for cable management, and it means you can hook the monitor up to any standard C13 IEC power cable. Overall, I think the whole monitor is pretty good looking. The design is pretty minimal, pretty clean. Although BenQ has decided to put a chin on the bottom of the display this time around, which does add a bit of visual bulk. On the plus side, they have kept the chin pretty minimal with a logo that's barely noticeable, so it's not too distracting. Okay, the stand that ships with the monitor is very sturdy, with a mostly metal design besides the top adjustable portion, which is made of plastic. There's a decent amount of weight to it, so you're not really going to see any wobbling from the monitor in day-to-day use. Design-wise, it matches the two-tone effect on the back of the monitor, which looks pretty clean. It also features pivot, swivel, tilt, and height adjustability to suit your seating position. If you prefer a monitor arm though, the PD2730S does support a 100 by 100 VESA mount as well, so no issues there. Alright, that's my look at the BenQ PD2730S. I think it's a pretty great monitor. If you're looking for a top tier productivity monitor, this has some really great productivity features built right in, like the one cable connectivity, the dock features, and a high resolution display for super sharp text and images. The colors on the panel look fantastic, but its accuracy might be a bit overkill if you're not a creator. Still, there are definitely features for professionals outside of creators too. Alright, let me know what you guys think about the monitor in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.